Tonight on CFTK-TV News, the town of Smithers makes a major property purchase, a glimpse into this year's Seafest in Prince Rupert, and evacuation alert in Squamish.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Hello, and thanks for joining us on this Wednesday, June 11th, 2025. I'm Jaylene Matthews. We lead tonight with our news that's local to the Northwest. The town of Smithers is planning a big move for both the town and a local business. CFTK-TV's Kale Maslin reports.
Right before the end of May, the town of Smithers made a major announcement about a property space purchase that they had made recently, with the announcement also disclosing what they will be doing with the space.
The summary is that the town of Smithers has acquired the building that is currently the home of Heartstrings, and the short story is it will be the future home of the Smithers Public Library.
The future version of the Smithers Public Library will be located at 3761 3rd Avenue and is set to get additional publicly accessible spaces that will be tailored to be useful as it can be for the library, but those will ultimately be shaped by public consultation. Funds for this project are being mainly provided by the Northwest BC Regional Funding Agreement, but some friends of the library have managed to raise and subsequently donate over $500,000 in order to support this purchase. But as for anyone who is worried about the future of the Heartstrings Home Decor and Gifts store, the town provided some reassurances on that front as well.
So Heartstrings will stay where it is for until 2026 into early 2026. And then at that point, they have identified another location on Main Street. So this much loved business will stay downtown in Smithers. And at that point, the town will take over the building and look at the next steps in terms of making it appropriate as the home for the library.
Smithers Mayor Gladys Attrell also said that most of the comments on the announcement from fans of the library and the store have been quite positive so far. And while Heartstrings is set to move in mid-January of next year to 1207 Main Street, a move that will see them close down for about 10 days, it's not currently clear yet as to when the new version of the library will be open for public use. For CFTK TV News, I'm Kale Maslin.
Seafest is back in Prince Rupert for its 47th year, bringing the fun with over 40 events packed into one exciting weekend. CFTK-TV's Helen Asante reports.
A celebration of culture, community, and pure fun from parades and crab eating contests, or hit the courts for a 3-on-3 basketball showdown, a beer garden, and even car smashing. There is something for everyone.
So Seafest is an opportunity to really recognize and celebrate our coastal community. And it happens on typically the second weekend of June every year. And it's a 3-day festival. So typically Friday, we do some events throughout the city, as well as some events throughout the whole weekend, specifically some athletics. There's lots of sports tournaments that we have. And then Saturday, we close down all of 3rd Avenue West. I think Seafest really does have something for everybody. It's got stuff for the Mariners. It's got stuff for kids. It's got activities for everyone that you can think of, whether you're able-bodied, disabled, whether you're, you've got food intolerance, doesn't matter your age, your gender, your ethnicity, there's something for everyone. And we really try to be as inclusive as possible in every activity that we do.
Festival coordinator Aless says safety is a top priority with measures in place to keep things secure.
So we do have specific traffic control individuals throughout all of 3rd Avenue, as well as on Sunday down in Calvi as well. We've contracted them, and we also have barricades in place to ensure everyone's safety. We want to make sure that that is top priority always, and we are working with the city to make sure that all our boxes are checked.
And over in Terrace, the Redneck Kitchen is serving up barbecue to join the celebration.
So I love the parade. I love the parade, and also the food vendors are one of my favorite. Bringing Redneck Kitchen down from Terrace is amazing, and I will stand in line for hours to get some of that barbecue.
With sunshine and summer vibes, Seafest is the place to be this weekend. Helen Asante, CFTK-TV.
Coming up next, both BC and national wildfire updates. Today, the wildfire in Squamish has reached within 40 meters of some homes. The fire is now 4 times larger than it was when a local state of emergency was declared yesterday. CTV's Craig Krause was there.
One helicopter after another, all working to suppress the flames from spreading further into Squamish as crowds of locals watch on.
Never ever seen anything like this before, especially how close it was to us, right here.
A feeling of helplessness as the blaze rips through the mountainside, triggering an evacuation alert for nearby neighborhoods.
This is going to be the huge challenge for our crews on this fire. There's going to be places that are inaccessible to work.
All hands on deck as more than 24 firefighters along with air support tackle the western and southern flanks, the areas posing the most danger to the community.
It's really scary seeing it actually sort of come to your doorstep.
And I'm feeling it right now. It's hard to talk about.
Officials say the blaze was sparked Monday afternoon in an area with many hiking trails. But as for a cause,
we haven't had the chance to investigate the cause, but it is most likely a human caused fire.
A fire spewing thick smoke into the valley, leading the Squamish First Nation and the mayor urging caution.
Squamish Alert will notify residents directly if the situation changes for their property.
And some help could be on its way. The BC Wildfire Service is expecting temperatures to cool over the coming days, along with more humid conditions. But regardless, anxiety in this neighborhood is palpable as they watch the fire burn. Craig Crow, CTV News, Squamish.
Some evacuees from Saskatchewan are beginning to be able to go back home now as wildfires have been managed in their areas. CTV's Allison Bamford reports.
And that's my snow machine and my neighbor's place.
A video sent from a community member, the reason Carrie Lentowitz knows she lost her house in a wildfire.
I've kind of come to the conclusion that, we were lucky enough to have something to lose.
A large part of Denair Beach in northern Saskatchewan burned last week. An evacuation order is still in place.
I'm hoping that I can go back and help rebuild as soon as possible.
Today, evacuees from La Ronge and surrounding areas got word they can head back home later this week. Bus loads have already returned to Pelican Narrows.
They were excited and ready to go.
Sarah Swan might be one of the last to go back. She's coordinating the return of other evacuees, but she knows her home is safe thanks to doorbell camera video.
What are you most looking forward to once you get home?
Home-cooked meals.
Saskatchewan's ombudsman says it will be investigating the province's wildfire response after the office received countless calls from evacuees unable to access support and information from the Public Safety Agency.
It's unprecedented for us to have evacuees reaching out saying that they're not getting food and they're not having a place to stay.
The demand outweighed or overwhelmed the ability to keep up. And so now we've had to staff up and we will address it.
Saskatchewan asked Ottawa for supplies that can be used once communities start to rebuild. The province hasn't asked for any other military assistance right now, saying water bombers and firefighting resources are needed the most, and the military can't provide those. Allison Bamford, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Turning to the weather, the sun rose at 4:49 a.m. this morning and sets at 10:09 p.m. tonight in the northwest. And take a look outside this evening as it's the full moon tonight. The June full moon is known as the strawberry moon for the time that flowers bloom and early fruit ripens. Tonight on the North Coast, expect conditions to be cloudy with a 30% chance of showers overnight with winds from the northeast at 20 kilometers an hour and a low of 9 degrees. Over the next few days on the North Coast, expect a mix of sun and clouds for the next couple of days, then a sunny 14 degrees on Saturday before some showers come back. Daily highs between 11 and 16 degrees, overnight lows between 7 and 11 degrees. Tonight in the Terrace-Kitimat area, expect it to be mainly cloudy with a few showers beginning before morning. Winds from the south at 30 kilometers an hour, gusting to 50, becoming light this evening, a low of 12 degrees. Over the next few days in the Terrace-Kitimat area, expect some showers tomorrow, then for the sun to stick around right through the weekend, then maybe some showers on Monday. Daily highs in the 15 to 22 degree range, overnight lows between 7 and 10 degrees. Tonight in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, it's looking mainly cloudy with a low of 10 degrees. Over the next few days in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, expect rain tomorrow, then sunshine for the rest of the week, then maybe some showers on Monday. Daily highs between 17 and 23 degrees, overnight lows between 4 and 8 degrees. Checking your highways around the Northwest now. On Highway 16, watch for mowing as well as road sweeping and utility work. On Highway 37, watch for bridge construction as well as frost heaves and a material spill. On Highway 37A, there's a section to watch for falling rocks. On the Niska Highway, there's bridge maintenance. And this is what the roads were looking like this afternoon around the region from the view of the province's highway cams. Still to come, the seafood caught in tariff turmoil. Canadian intelligence suggests that a rising number of underground labs are producing fentanyl. CTV's Ben Nesbitt reports.
Last year, a staggering 95 million doses of fentanyl were seized from this property in northern Okanagan. The RCMP called it the largest and most sophisticated drug lab in the country. Even the U.S. DEA flagged it in its 2025 National Drug Threat Assessment.
Our own Canadian intelligence service reports indicate that there has been a rise in the number of organizations that are producing fentanyl and synthetic opioids, particularly in Ontario and British Columbia.
Public safety critic Eleanor Sturcos says the BC NDP government continues to downplay concerns from U.S. officials as trade war rhetoric. Sturcos highlights comments made by the director of the FBI, Kash Patel, on the Joe Rogan podcast last week.
But instead of going right up the southern border and into America, you know what they're doing? They're flying it into Vancouver. They're taking the precursors up to Canada, manufacturing it up there, and doing their global distribution routes from up there because we were being so effective down south.
In response to Patel's comments, BC Public Safety Minister Gary Begg said less than 1% of the fentanyl in the U.S. comes from here, and that it was just another attempt to justify President Trump's tariffs. But the mayor of Port Coquitlam disagrees.
We have been, an easy place to do business.
In 2023, West received a letter from U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken after they met at a conference in Colorado. He confirmed that U.S. officials view BC and Canada as a hotspot for drug trafficking and organized crime.
In the United States, they have a RICO law, and they have used RICO laws and racketeering charges to go after a lot of the transnational criminal organizations, and no such law exists in Canada.
The federal government has appointed a fentanyl czar, but Sturcos is calling on the BC NDP to create a task force to address fentanyl trafficking, transnational crime, and drug production in BC.
We need a government that is first and foremost going to come out strong on these issues, acknowledging that they exist as dangers to our province, and then coming up with a real plan.
Ben Nesbitt, CTV News, Vancouver.
The latest to be dramatically affected by tariffs may be one of your favorite delicacies. CTV's Rob Buffum explains.
Wriggling, flipping, orange gold in a bucket. Spot prawns, the last of a 4-week season that wrapped up Monday, worth their weight in gold.
Delicious, the finest there is.
End of story.
And that's why the prices are what they are.
The seafood delicacy commands a hefty price, but 25% tariffs on Canadian seafood imposed by China March 20th have hammered spot prawns, which along with Dungeness crabs and gooey ducks are key seafood exports to China.
For BC, we export about $400 million to China every year, and let's put a big strain on that.
The province's latest data shows nearly 80% of BC's spot prawns and shrimp were exported to China in 2023. Chinese buyers aren't willing to pay higher prices now due to tariffs. So it's the BC sellers and fishers who are forced to sell at reduced rates to their biggest market.
Prices to the exporter and thus to the harvester are down by 25 to 50%.
Prices at home haven't changed much. For those of you hoping to get a deal on prawns because of what's going on with the tariffs, don't hold your breath. Retailers say they haven't changed their prices much at all. These are the last of the live prawns brought in last night, just under 30 pounds left, and they're selling for $30 a pound, meaning this bucket here is worth close to $1,000.
There's booming markets in Vancouver and Granville Island and Steveston, and a lot of boats deliver in there and supply all of Vancouver.
Still, foreign markets drive the seafood industry. Before China dominated BC's spot prawn market, Japan was our biggest export market. Premier Eby returns tonight from a 10-day trade mission to Asia that included a visit to Japan and efforts to reignite the profile of BC's seafood sector there. Robert Buffum, CTV News.
Senior homeowners that are ready to downsize aren't finding affordable options in this market, and as CTV's Adrian Gobriel reports, it's stalling sales.
Yes, hello?
Effie Panagiotopoulos's parents have spent the last 5 years coming to terms with their new reality.
My mom was diagnosed with dementia.
Jim and Anna Panagiotopoulos built this 4-story bedroom home in Toronto's East End in 1988. Now in their 80s, their staircase has become problematic. They've had to pay for a lift to be installed. Sky-high real estate prices and their own cost of living has made downsizing feel out of reach.
They many times need to make that move, but they're looking at all the costs involved.
It is great pleasure for me to be here.
In March, the Carney government announced the elimination of the GST for first-time home buyers on properties under $1 million.
If a senior wants to downsize, move into a new condo, they are assessed GST. Here in Ontario, they're assessed PST.
This report, issued this month by the Missing Middle Initiative, is calling on Ottawa's GST rebate to be offered up to all, including seniors who are purchasing owner-occupied homes, and calling on provincial governments to match the rebate with incentives of their own.
That would shave up to 13%.
In an email, an official with Canada's Department of Finance wrote to CTV News that this GST rebate is intended to help first-time homebuyers enter the housing market rather than people who already own a home.
Ironically, one of the best ways to help first-time homebuyers is to actually help seniors and help them downsize.
For Panagiotopoulos, who also works as a real estate agent, without a senior's tax break for her parents, given their current situation, a move simply wouldn't make sense.
And sometimes it doesn't add up.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't add up. Pay all those expenses to make a move now from a 2-story to a bungalow. I mean, the gap is not that big. So where do they go?
The Canadian Centre for Economic Analysis estimates that here in Ontario alone, there's 4.4 million rooms sitting empty in part because of seniors who won't, or in some cases, can't afford to downsize. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Toronto.
Turning to the markets now, Canada's main stock index pushed to a record high today. The Canadian dollar rose 0.1 cent. The price of gold gained 30 cents. Oil was up $3.17. Natural gas dropped 3 cents. Aluminum gained $12. In Toronto, the TSX was up almost 99 points. The Venture Index rose by 4. In New York, the Nasdaq fell by 99 points and the Dow Jones dropped a point. Still ahead, a Canadian Olympic champion breaking new records. Canadian Olympic gold medalist Summer McIntosh has been on Vancouver Island this week, making waves and breaking records. CTV's Anna McMillan reports.
Swimmers disagree on whether certain pools are slow or fast, but when it comes to the athletes themselves, the record books don't lie. Summer McIntosh is speedy.
I just feel like I'm witnessing history, which is pretty awesome.
McIntosh, an 18-year-old Olympic champion from Toronto, has set 2 world records in 3 days at the Canadian swimming trials in Saanich.
Keep your eye on the clock. 3:55, 3:8. World record again!
One record is for the 400-meter freestyle, and the other is for the 200-meter individual medley.
McIntosh is on fire. Head down to the wall. It is. She destroys it again.
It's nice seeing a Canadian do that, and I think that is important too because, it's so crazy to see her do that stuff. She's just like us.
McIntosh is inspiring hundreds of athletes from across Canada. They're competing at Commonwealth Place Pool, which last hosted the trials in 2022.
I think a world record in any sport is a big deal, and to have that happen in a community pool here is exciting.
A local lifeguard who's been swimming since she was a kid says it's surreal to see people coming together to witness history.
There's kids from all over the island who are growing up swimming, and they're coming down from 3 hours, 4 hours away just to see her race.
This is a selection event for athletes to achieve the national and junior national teams.
I feel motivated to break my own personal records.
Organizers estimate the sold-out trials are seeing millions of dollars spent in Greater Victoria.
Swimmers, our officials, our coaches are using the corner store, the gas stations, the Starbucks, the hotels.
They'll be here until Thursday, giving the athletes 2 more days to set some records. Anna McMillan, CTV News, Saanich.
Vancouver will soon be host to one of the biggest events in the world. CTV's Martin McMahon has more.
We are nearly a year away from one of Vancouver's biggest ever events as one of the host cities for the World Cup. FIFA's Vice President and East Vancouver native Victor Montagliani addressing the Board of Trade.
You have no idea what's coming. The reality is I don't think I have any idea what's coming.
Vancouver will host 7 matches, including 2 featuring Canada's national team.
And having your host country play 2 games here, that is a thing that actually will take it to the next level.
With millions of fans coming to North America, there's hope of a major economic boost, with the tourism sector pointing to Vancouver's hosting record.
There's no city on planet Earth that's hosted a World's Fair, the Women's Worlds, a Winter Olympics, a FIFA, and Invictus Games. We know how to host, we know how to activate, we know how to be creative.
The senior FIFA executive also making a point of addressing the potential sale of the Vancouver Whitecaps as they look for a buyer and fears that the club could leave the city.
To lose an MLS club on the backs of World Cup would be a capital crime, in my opinion.
Montagliani urging government and business leaders to step up and to back the construction of a new stadium.
Having a stadium for that club where we can go week in and week out and enjoy football is as big as those 7 games that are coming here next year. So is to ensure that the business community screams it loud and clear to whether it's the city, whether it's the province or both, that is a very important element.
Tickets for the tournament will go on sale in the fall under a lottery system. And given demand will surely exceed supply, there are already discussions underway about outdoor watch parties. Martin McMahon, CTV News, Vancouver.
That's our news for now. Thanks for watching.